Hello students, today we are going to study inheritance in C++. It is the most important feature of C++. What basically inheritance means, uh, all the features of object-oriented programming language generally deals or relate with the real-world problem. Inheritance means if there is some kind of superclass and we want to use any function related to that superclass in our derived class, then we usually inherit that class in our derived class. Okay, so the superclass is known as base class, whose features we want in our class, that is known as base class or parent class, and the class which derived the function from the base class or parent class is known as child class or derived class. Okay, so the entire concept behind inheritance is basically we want some of the features of the base class and we want to use that feature as it is in our class. So instead of writing the exact code again and again, we try to inherit the same features from the base class, so it avoid the rewritability of the code and enhance the reusability of the code, so we can reuse the code which is written and executed in the past. So the idea of inheritance is being implemented is a relationship. For example, if we have a base class that is being inherited in a is a relationship with the derived class. See, this is the example of inheritance. We have a super class that is mammal, and we have two base classes such as dog and cat. So the mammal has some common features or all the features of all the mammals, right? But our dog class and class are the child classes which have their own specific features as well as whatever features they want to include from the base class. Okay, so they have some features from the mammal as well, and they have their specific features of dog and cat. So on the same concept as I have told earlier, that object oriented programming language deals completely with the real world example. So we can see that here the real world example, as the mammal has its own features, dog has its own features, cat has own features, but they derive the common features, right? So in this way we can increase the reusability of code and avoid the rewriting of code again and again. What are the advantages and features of code? As I have told you, the reusability is the major advantage of the inheritance. It saves the time and efforts which is being used while writing again the same code. Okay, it is faster development, easier maintenance. If something went wrong, we know that there is a base class that is being predefined, right? So easy to extend, capable of in the transition network enclosure closeness in the real world problem. I have told maximum of the example earlier also. So these are the basic advantages of inheritance. Okay, now we come to the syntax. We have discussed what inheritance is, but how it is being implemented. Okay, so you can see the syntax, that is, first we will write the name of the derived class, right? Then put a colon, then access specifier, and then the name of the base class. Okay, where access specifier, as we all know that there we have three kind of access specifier, that is public, protected and private, that implement the concept of abstraction. Okay, through access specifier we can manage how the data members and member function which got inherited in from the base class behave in the derived class. How we want them to behave in our class, we can choose that. Okay, so this is the basic syntax, that is class derived class name as well as the access specifier and next base class name. Okay, so this is the basic syntax. Okay, now we will discuss the access control and inheritance. As I have told in the syntax, we have a access specifier between the base class and derived class name. What does it means? Why we need that? Because as we all know that the private member never get inherited. Okay, we can't access the private members of any class, right? So all the functions and members which we declare in the private as a access specifier, they don't get inherited, or they can't be accessible. So there are two access specifiers or two sections which can be accessed through the inherited class, is the public and protected. Okay, so we have to keep our focus to these both sections where we want to make the inheritance possible. See this is the chart. This is a summary chart through which we can get an idea that how our members and members in base class behave accordingly when we inherit them. Okay, so in the column wise, if we goes private, protected and public, in rows wise private, protected, public shows the inheritance type. Okay, the column shows how the members behave. So first, when we have an inheritance type of private, so private member will behave, see the 0 1 column. Okay, 0 1 column, right? So the private inheritance type and private data member will never get inherited. You can see the entire column says that it will never get inherited, as I have told you earlier that private members can never get inherited. Okay, so we will move to the next part which get inherited. Okay, so if we provide a inheritance of private type, then the protected member will become private in the child class. Okay, and public member will also become the private member of the child class. So when we perform inheritance in private mode, or in place of access specifier we put private keyword, right, then protected and public member will become the private members of our base class, so sorry, derived class, right? So from base class, they the protected and public member become the private members of the derived class. Okay, next we move to the protected. If we implement our inheritance as a protected access specifier mode, then obviously private members will not get an inheritance. Protected member will become protected member of the child class, and public will also become the protected member of the child class. So these are the changes we can see while implementation. Okay, next, when we implement our inheritance as a public mode, so the protected member will remain as protected and the public member will remain as public. So sum up, while summing up, I can revise it. When we provide inheritance as private mode, then protected and public member will become the private member of the base class. When we perform it in the protected mode, then protected and public member will become the child, that is protected member of the child class. And if we perform in the public mode, then protected will remain protected and public will remain public. And in all the three cases, private member will not get inherited at any time. Okay, see, this is the diagrammatical representation what we are I have told you earlier: public private mode, protected mode and public mode. As you can see that all the three cases non private members are not inherited, and in private inheritance all the private members, public and protected members become private, and protected inheritance all the public and protected member become protected, as well as in public protected member will get protected and public member will as it is copied in the public section. Okay, so this is the example of private inheritance. See, we have a base class base class in which we have private members int a member function void fun a, protected member int b, and a member function of void fun b, public member int c, and member function of void fun c. Okay, now we have another child class that have a private member int x, function void fun cx, protected member int y, and a function void fun cy, and public member in Z and void one CZ. Okay, now when the child class inherit the base class privately, so you can see in the third diagram that all the private member, protected and public members will have become the private member of the child class, and no private member of the base class is available in the child class. See, this is the example of protected mode. If we are inheriting the base class in protected mode, we have same example, same elements as well, but in the third chart you can see that all the protected and public members of the base class become a part of protected area of the child class. Okay, and the private members are not available in the child class. Third one is the public inheritance. See, I am repeating the same example as well. So in public inheritance also you can see that the protected member will be available in the protected area and the public member will be available in the public area. Okay, now we will move towards what is known as the different type of inheritance. We have basically 5 type of inheritance, that is single, multiple, multi-level, hierarchical and hybrid. Okay, so first come first, that is the single inheritance, right? In single inheritance, it is the simplest form of inheritance that contain a single base class that is being derived by the single class, right? So we have one base class and one derived class. We have an example also here. See this. In this, the class student have a private data members of name, of characters, float marks, protected void results, public student, right? We have different member functions and data members, and class course is inheriting class student and in the public mode, and this is the single inheritance. We have single base class and single derived class. Okay, this is the simplest form of inheritance. And next, when we move to the second form of inheritance, that is multi-level. What multi-level says, the base class, we have one base class that is being inherited by another class known as, now the class become the derived class, but that derived class is also being derived by another class. So we have a super base class, right, or super class, and then we have derived class, and then we have a subclass. Okay, so one derived class is being derived by another class. So we have the example also. Look, we have a class furniture, right, that is the super class that is being derived by sofa, which is the derived class, first derived class. Okay, now the office also derived what? Sofa. And you can see that sofa is deriving furniture in public mode, but office is deriving sofa as a private mode. So the data member will placed in different area. As you know that if we are doing public mode, then the protected will become the protected, public will become the public. Okay, but when we are doing in private mode, then all the public and protected data will become the private data of class office. Getting? So this is the way we perform multi inheritance. Means a super class is being inherited by a derived class, and then again that derived class is being inherited by the another class. Next comes the multiple inheritance. Multiple inheritance state that we have, if we want to acquire some features of two classes, right? If we are not satisfied by the single features of a single class, so we want to acquire two classes, right? We want the feature of class A as well as class B. So what we will do, we will perform multiple inheritance. We will inherit some feature from A and some feature from B. So multiple inheritance states that we have two base classes and one derived class. Okay, you can see the example. We have one chair person class, right, and we have another class that is director. Now the chairperson and director is being inherited in by the class company. So company has two base classes. See, you can see the access specifier. It has inherited chairperson in private mode and director in public mode. So we have both mode different, right? We have two different modes for two different base classes. So it is possible. You can take some of the features of chairperson in the private mode, and you can take some of the features of the director in public mode. So it is not a problem or any issue. So this is how we perform the multiple inheritance. Till now we have seen single inheritance, which has one base class, one derived class, multiple inheritance, multi-level, sorry. So we have a super class, we have derived class and a subclass, right? Then multiple, what says, two base classes and one derived classes. Next comes the hierarchical. Hierarchical says, as we have seen, we have two base classes in multiple. Now hierarchical says, if we have n number of base classes, we can also have n number of derived classes, right? So here, when we have one single base class, we can have multiple derived classes. It may be possible we need some common features, or we not n number of people need same common features from some particular class, so it can inherit that class as well. Okay, so we have a toy class that is being inherited publicly by the soft toys and publicly by the electronic toys. So both of the toy classes require the features of toy. As we can see that these are the real world examples, and they are implementable as well. This is the beauty of the concept of object oriented programming. So we can easily mold them in the real time example, so they are actually implementable. Next comes the hybrid inheritance. What hybrid inheritance says, that if we are not satisfied by n number of inheritance, we can make a combinations of inheritance which we want in our class. So as you see this diagram, there are three inheritance basically performing. First one is the hierarchical inheritance. As you can see that class A is being inherited by B and C, so we have one base class and two derived classes, right? Second comes with the multiple inheritance, that is D is being D inherits both B and C, right? So we have hierarchical and multiple, and if we combine the entire diagram, so we have a multi-level inheritance, which says that D is being inherited by B and C, and we have another level, that is class A. So class A becomes the super class, whereas D becomes the subclass, right? So this is the concept where we deals with the hybrid inheritance. Okay, there are some important points that needs to be taken care. We can see that the derived class has its own constructor and destructor, right? So and when we create the object or derived class, first the constructor of the base class is being executed, then the derived class constructor is being executed, and once the object or the derived class goes out of scope, then the destructor of the destructor is being called first, then that of base class. What I mean by this, when we are calling constructor, the sequence goes from base class to derived class, but when we are calling destructor, the sequence goes from the derived class to base class, right? So first derived class destructor will be called, then base class, and constructor, first base class constructor will be called, then derived class. Some of the other points on extra knowledge, we can note that when we are deciding about the size of the object, right? As we all know that the class is a user defined data type, and object is a kind of variable of the class, right? So we have to decide the size of the variable. Okay, so the size of the variable is being decided by the amount of the memory the class required, right? So the same size of the object is being allotted. But when we inherit, so if we inherit if we are dealing with the simple inheritance, then all the base class object data members and data members, including private members also. So the entire memory is, we need the combination of derived class memory and the base class. Okay, and if we are multi-level, if we are performing multi-level inheritance, then we need all the memory irrespective to the subclass also. So it is the combination, means if you are using the base class, if you are inheriting base class, then you need to be taken care of all the data members got a lot the memory. Okay, so in fact including the private members as well. Okay, so that's it, we are done with the inheritance. What we have learned today is the basic inheritance, what inheritance performs, and the access specifiers, how we deals with it, public, protected, private mode, how we perform inheritance, how data members behave in different type of access specifier, and at the last we have seen the basic of different type of inheritance, that is single, multiple, multi-level, hierarchical, and hybrid. Okay, thank you.